After the big reveal of the Season 2 finale, it made us aware of what Lu Guang had done, while the Bridon arc series is sharing to us the details of why Lu Guang had done that. The Bridon arc opening theme not only gives us sneak peeks of what we can expect from this prequel, but it also shows to us a different lens on how we will see the events in the Link Click series. In other words, the Bridon arc enables us to see things in Lu Guang's perspective. We will now witness the horrors and the nightmares which Lu Guang had been suffering from, and we will now discover what makes him smile and what makes him cry. Let's try to look into the opening theme visuals in Lu Guang's eyes more closely. Oh, but before we continue, please be warned that there will be some spoilers of the Bridon arc series in this video. But don't worry, they are so minor to the point that they won't reveal much of the plot at all. But to play it safe for those who are not comfortable, even with slight spoilers, then hence this warning. You're welcome. Now, let the pain start. The opening theme begins with this scene of the duo's room with a camera on the table. It's followed by a close-up of the camera, which is later being picked up. At first I thought this might be Lu Guang's camera, but the first episode showed his camera being white, so it can't be his. It looked more similar to Cheng Xiaoshi's camera over here, so it has to be Cheng Xiaoshi's. But this hand really looks like Lu Guang's because of how pale it is. So this is a scene of Lu Guang picking up Cheng Xiaoshi's camera. I wonder what this scene could mean. Perhaps Cheng Xiaoshi's camera refers to his ability. Then Lu Guang is taking over the role of making use of it. You know, instead of the transfer being represented using the basketball metaphor, it's through the camera instead. Or maybe the camera isn't referring to the time travel ability. Instead, it's more on the ability to capture and or store memories, like the memories from the other timelines. Well, whatever it is, there just has to be some transition from Cheng Xiaoshi to Lu Guang going on as represented by this white feather transition. After all, because of the break music video, it should be safe to assume that the white feather symbolizes Cheng Xiaoshi. Now we are on the moment where everything began, which is on their first meeting at this basketball court. Then later, the scene is suddenly focused on the part where we can spot a butterfly. It was shown somewhere below. Not easy to notice, but possible to step on if these feet are not careful enough. Maybe this is something random, but cinematic-wise and with the show's time travel theme, it has to mean something. Particularly, it must be referencing to the butterfly effect. In case you're not familiar with the term butterfly effect, in simple words, it refers to the concept wherein a tiny change can cause very large effects. Keeping a supposedly dead person alive for as long as possible is definitely more than a tiny change, right? If a small action, such as the butterfly flapping its wings, has the potential to cause a tornado in a faraway place, what more will changing a human's fate be? So, a butterfly showing up in this scene implies that a butterfly effect is already happening on this moment. Like Lu Guang not seeing this moment in the same way anymore. When he was still oblivious of what's about to happen in the future during their original first meeting, he must have been feeling a bit carefree during this time as he was being dragged along by Cheng Xiaoshi here. But the current him cannot see it in the same way anymore as he is being haunted by the future that happened in the other timeline. The feeling of looking at this face while being aware of the tragic death that will happen to him can be quite devastating, right? That very small change of how he sees events in the past will make him become more cautious, and he would even try to make different decisions moving forward. Since the Lu Guang who had returned from the future is very different from the actual Lu Guang of that moment in the past, it's like there had been two versions of Lu Guang, and that is represented when he is being split into two. The one which is left behind is in grayscale colors, someone whose color is not the same as those around him, and is not even being seen by those around him. It's like he doesn't belong to that world. He's like a ghost. A dead person no longer belongs among the living, right? Yet, a ghost still tries to linger among the living humans. It's somewhat similar to Lu Guang's case, wherein he lurks around the timeline where he technically doesn't belong to. So, even if Lu Guang can literally return to this precious moment in his past, he won't be experiencing the same emotions anymore. Not the same innocence and happiness, at least. So, even though he is literally reliving this moment, the tragic memory will keep on haunting him. But no matter how painful it is, he sets aside the joy of being able to experience this happy moment again and walks away so he can focus on his mission. I think this part where we see him walking on this road symbolizes his long journey of going to the past. He goes from the beginning and goes through many events until the part he has to stop from happening. It is a lonely quest that he's been doing all alone. So he is walking carefully, like he has to be natural but still very cautious on every step he makes. The succeeding scenes show Ghost Lu Guang walking alone in various places in Bridon. It starts with this street in Bridon. I don't see anything special about this street though. Or maybe that's the point. Perhaps it somewhat implies that there is something extraordinary going on in a seemingly ordinary day. Like, for instance, a certain college student who is on a bus suddenly notices something from this crowd where Ghost Lu Guang is standing. The next scene shows Liu Xiao alone inside what seems to be a library or bookstore. But when Liu Xiao left, that's the time when Ghost Lu Guang appeared. Liu Xiao was probably checking on something related to Teng Wei Min over here, and it looks like he is already done with the investigation as he closes the book. He seems accomplished because of that smile on his face as he leaves the room. We next see Ghost Lu Guang outside, near the Big Ben. He later looks somewhere else. It's unclear to me whether he's looking for something, or he suddenly noticed something, or maybe he is actually aware of Vane watching from somewhere up there. As for Vane, maybe he is simply enjoying the feeling of looking down on people here, or maybe he is looking for someone, or is observing something or someone. Anyway, on the next scene, we see a cup of tea with blue flower designs. At first, I thought these were Lu Guang's flowers, but they seem to be blue roses. These flowers generally symbolize mystery or the unattainable. Maybe that symbolism is applicable to our mysterious lady. I wonder if her drinking tea has any significance. Could drinking tea be something that helps her calm down? Or she is simply addicted to it? Or perhaps this scene is what her normal day is like until she notices someone. The beautiful lady has definitely noticed Ghost Lu Guang walking outside the room on this scene. It seems to be the same with Xiafei when he was inside the bus over here. It's giving the impression that these blondies have some special abilities that can see Ghost Lu Guang. However, it's strange that it seems Liu Xiao isn't able to see Ghost Lu Guang. As someone who talked about multiple timelines, that doesn't make sense. But oh well, maybe I'm just overthinking about this. Besides, it's unclear whether Vane is not able to see Ghost Lu Guang as well anyway. After Ghost Lu Guang was walking around Britain, we now see these, they look like bells or chimes, and it's back in China. Possibly, this scene is shown to evoke nostalgia, since we see Lu Guang going back to his home. Sadly, inside his home, his family are not able to see him. Xiaoling and Cheng Xiaoshi are in a rush to go upstairs for some reason, and I can only imagine them reacting like this if something happened to Lu Guang upstairs. They seemed so serious here, and Ghost Lu Guang looks guilty about it for some reason too. But anyway, when Ghost Lu Guang followed them upstairs and opens the bedroom door, instead of the siblings, he sees a pool of blood. And this is definitely Cheng Xiaoshi's blood because of that white feather. They frequently show us scenes of Lu Guang's eyes being red because of the sight of Cheng Xiaoshi's blood. He has not been seeing that in reality only, but even in dreams too. Lu Guang is clearly traumatized. Anyway, when that white feather fell, everything in the room burst into photographs. The photographs appear to include some moments from seasons 1 and 2. Maybe this means, Cheng Xiaoshi's death is the trigger of the chaos with the timelines. Then this scene is like Ghost Lu Guang being overwhelmed by them. But why is a scene related to Cheng Xiaoshi's death is in their room instead of the dark room? Maybe it's because it's in the bedroom where Lu Guang frequently has his nightmares about Cheng Xiaoshi's death. The scene changes to various moments of Lu Guang with the siblings during their school days. The outfits match the clothes they wear during their university days in the Bridon arc as well as their university days in season 1. We are not seeing Lu Guang himself in these scenes since we are seeing these moments in Lu Guang's eyes. So this is how Lu Guang sees his precious ones, huh? They look so happy. They are so radiant. They are smiling so brightly. Wait, actually, all of these moments are so bright. I suppose it's because these are the brightest moments in Lu Guang's life. In other words, these are the times when Lu Guang had been the happiest. He was very happy during the times when he is just hanging out with the siblings and when he plays basketball with his best friend. So this means Lu Guang is happiest when he is just spending time with the people he loves the most. Yes, it's not just with Cheng Xiaoshi. It is with both Cheng Xiaoshi and Xiaoling. His happy memories with them must be what he holds dear. These are the memories he holds on to help him carry on. And he is literally holding on to one of those moments in this scene. It's a photograph from a happy memory, particularly on when he first met his best friend. That might be how he is able to move forward on his lonely quest. How he is able to endure the suffering he's been going through, since those precious memories are helping him bear them all. In order to save his loved ones, he had to go through a dangerous mission, and he is willing to do it over and over again until he succeeds. We see Ghost Lu Guang in various locations as he holds onto that photo. It starts with him at the studio, then we see him in different places in Britain and in China, and it ends in the place where he first met Cheng Xiaoshi. I think the events happening in those places represent some of the important nodes of his time travels. In other words, these might be the events or the nodes of the past that he cannot change. So he goes through all of these over and over and over again, including this one. Oh my god! But even if he fails, he doesn't give up. He goes back to the beginning. But that didn't mean that things have become less painful for him, which is why he cannot help but cry when he's back at the beginning. Oh my god! I cried a lot when I first saw this scene. I'm still not used to it, but at least I can hold back the tears somehow this time. It's already making me feel like this, even when I'm not seeing his crying face. It's seriously painful to see him cry. Oh my god. By the way, it's interesting that, unlike the others, this scene is in black and white, like Ghost Lu Guang. Maybe it means something like he is stuck on this moment. Like time has frozen on this moment. Like he cannot move on from this moment. Or maybe he was devastated with the fact that he failed again. Or perhaps he felt like their first meeting was cursed because his best friend might not have died like that if they didn't meet in the first place. Oh, I don't know. But whatever he is thinking, only one person can cheer him up. And it's none other than Cheng Xiaoshi, who grabs his hand in his darkness and then literally brings colors into his life. Ghost Lu Guang is no ghost anymore. Cheng Xiaoshi is making him belong, even in this timeline. Unlike earlier, wherein Cheng Xiaoshi was dragging Lu Guang to play basketball with him in their first meeting, this time, Cheng Xiaoshi is dragging him to the same road where Lu Guang was walking on earlier. It's interesting that Tiao Ling is already ahead in that road. Perhaps it means that she will be the one who will guide them to the right path, or something like that. Anyway, since he now has Cheng Xiaoshi and Tiao Ling with him, Lu Guang is no longer alone in this journey. Initially, Lu Guang looked like he was surprised and a little reluctant to run along with Cheng Xiaoshi. But later he smiles, and after that, it looked like he wasn't simply being dragged into it, but he's now actually running along with them. I think Lu Guang's initial reaction was him being confused on why the people he is trying to save are suddenly joining him in the journey he's supposed to be doing alone. But Cheng Xiaoshi's words on this scene must have convinced him to go with the flow. Or something like that, with the hope that things will be okay. With Cheng Xiaoshi's positive energy, Lu Guang can't help but smile. Things may be dangerous, but if he is with the two of them, they will be able to accomplish anything, including a happy ending. Well, Lu Guang has to have a plan. The diary on this scene is definitely Lu Guang's. He's been keeping notes of his time travels, though it's interesting that he has not been writing on his diary in an ordinary way. Well, writing on a diary using the Latin language is certainly something unusual, right? We already know about Lu Guang being the intelligent type, but I didn't expect him to be this multilingual. He's really so incredible. Anyway, Lu Guang is really very secretive that he needs to encrypt his diary entries in this method. Speaking of encrypted messages, there are actually a lot of it in this opening theme. I made a compilation of them in another video. So in case you are interested on code languages or ciphers and you haven't seen that video yet, please check it out later, okay? Thanks! Anyway, I won't be surprised if my interpretations of the visuals in the opening theme are just my hallucinations. Or maybe you also see what I see? Or do you have alternative or additional interpretations of what these scenes from the opening theme may symbolize? Of course, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section. By the way, if you have enjoyed this video somehow, as usual, I would appreciate it if you click the like button. That always motivates me to create more content like this. After all, there's something else that's pretty interesting in Lu Guang's diary. You see, although the texts are in Latin, his bookmark is in English. It says rewind. I think this is shown as a hint to us viewers of the Link Click series. I also think that it's a season 3 spoiler. I have some initial thoughts about it, but I'd like to think it over again after the Bridon arc series ends. Yeah, the Bridon arc is not yet completed by the time this video was released, you see. So, to be notified of when the next Link Click video will be ready, make sure to subscribe, okay? Thanks! And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again. Take care!